The 2021 NBA draft is loaded with talent, which is why it's very important to highlight some of the prospects that may not go in the lottery, but that could have a chance to be very productive, or, in other words, be the sleeper in this year's class. To some, sleeper means star. To others, it means very good rookie season when it wasn't expected. I believe it's somewhere in the middle. To me, there isn't a black and white definition for a sleeper in any draft. We have them every single year. In order to find a sleeper, you must have the right scouting department in place along with a strong front office. Unfortunately, many teams don't, which is why we have an all-star caliber player get drafted from 10 to 50 every single year for at least the past 10 years, I would say. Who is that next sleeper in this draft class? I have a list of 4 prospects that could have a chance to be very good if they go to the right situation that can highlight their strengths and work on their weaknesses. I don't have these prospects ranked, but rather just want to bring up these names so you can keep an eye on them from now to 3 years from now when we make it a fair assessment if this list of prospects were indeed sleepers. Josh Christopher was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school and ranked 11th in the 2020 ESPN 100. He ultimately ended up passing on basketball powerhouses like UCLA and Michigan to play at Arizona State with his brother Caleb. Christopher is the highest ranked recruit to ever wear the Sun Devils uniform and the first 5-star recruit to attend Arizona State since James Harden. After one season at Arizona State, the 19-year-old decided to forego his final 3 years of eligibility and enter the 2021 NBA draft. It was a disappointing season for the Sun Devils, who had won 20 games the previous 3 seasons, but finished 9th in the Pac-12 with an 11-15 record. Christopher was solid though, averaging 14.3 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 1.5 steals on 43% shooting from the field, not the three-point line, but didn't quite make the impact on the program many would have hoped. Christopher is expected to be a second-round pick, but I believe he will sneak into the first and maybe even somewhere around 15 to 20 because you can't teach a 6'8" wingspan with that type of athleticism. Trust me. One of Christopher's strengths is his bounce and athleticism, which will translate to the NBA quite well. His athletic prowess allows him to get to the rim and elevate over defenders both in the paint and while shooting jumpers. His leaping ability makes him a good rebounder from the guard position and allows him to be solid at contested threes, something that is particularly important in today's NBA where perimeter shooting is at an all-time high. Josh also has a 6'8" wingspan, which allowed him to disrupt a lot of passing lanes in college. 1.5 steals per game actually, and will bode well for him in the NBA. It wouldn't hurt him to add some muscle, but Christopher's body is NBA ready. Let's talk about some of his weaknesses. Josh struggles to find a consistent rhythm from behind the arc, as he only shot 30% from 3. His shooting motion is a little deliberate and awkward, and this could be an issue at the next level against bigger and more aggressive perimeter defenders. But as I've always said, if he has a strong work ethic and the right development coaching staff, he'll be just fine. Christopher also struggles with decision making at times, as most 19-year-olds do. The guard's court vision isn't quite where it needs to be yet and has a tendency to be a ball stopper and try to do too much by himself when he should be distributing the ball and taking what the defense is giving him. But I do believe these issues are correctable at the next level, and the belief is that Christopher has the potential and drive to improve on his shortcomings and become a more fluid and versatile offensive threat. I really don't like to use the traditional comps for prospects because it almost never ends up being that, but people love it, so I gotta get what the people want. And if I had to choose one player, it would be Terrence Ross from the Magic. The 30-year-old Ross has never been able to fully break through offensively, in my opinion, aside from that 51-point outing a few years back, due to his league-wide average 3-point shooting ability. If Christopher can improve his shooting to a decent clip, let's say 37-38%, I envision him being an even more productive player on both ends of the floor, as he has more defensive potential than Ross in my opinion. Let's move on to Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois. Coming out of high school, the 6'5" combo guard was a 4-star recruit ranked 36th in the 2018 ESPN Top 100. Dosunmu decided to stay in his home state and play for Brad Underwood at the University of Illinois. In his 3 seasons, Dosunmu improved his outputs in scoring, rebounding, and assisting. He helped Illinois double their win total from 12 wins in the 2018-2019 to 24 wins in the 2020-2021 season. Dosunmu was a young question best player and leader and was a two-time first-team All-Big Ten selection in his final 2 seasons. Ayo led his team to the #1 seed as a junior while putting up 20.1 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists per game. Yeah, this guy fills up the stat sheet. Let's go over some of his strengths. One of his main draws is his ability to contribute in all aspects of the game. He is your prototypical stat sheet stuffer who can score the rock, uses court vision and crafty moves to distribute, and uses 6'5" frame and intense style of play to be a solid rebounder. Dosunmu is not afraid to mix it up in the paint and frequently look to get himself in the lane to finish at the rim and collapse the defense. Ayo's finishing skills are very good. He can hit floaters, layups, and can elevate pretty well also. Dosunmu also plays a game with high energy and has the it factor that elevated teammates and gets the crowd going. He has natural flair and leadership skills that cannot be taught and also had experience on his side. With the one and done culture being so prevalent nowadays, it often overshadows those guys who play multiple years in college and learn the game before arriving in the NBA. He was able to play in high pressure games and was able to gather some tournament experience, which will be beneficial at the next level, especially if he lands on a contender. Defensively, Dosunmu puts the work in and has the ideal length with a 6'9" wingspan and evidently is just as locked in when guarding someone as he is offensively. Like many young players coming into the NBA, Dosunmu struggled with his decision making at times in college. This past season, the 21-year-old averaged 3.3 turnovers per game as a result of trying to do too much. Dosunmu had pretty good teammates surrounding him in savvy guard Andre Curbelo and skilled big Kofi Cockburn. But sometimes he tried to be too much of a hero and shoulder the offensive load himself. In the round of 32, Dosunmu turned the ball over 6 times and looked out of sorts. Dosunmu, despite his talents, is a solid but not great three-point shooter and does not have a very fluid motion in the jumper. Fortunately, he is a great finisher at the rim, but will need to find a more consistent flow from behind the arc because his lack of elite quickness and strength likely won't allow him to get to the basket as easily in the NBA. These are correctable issues for sure, as we see many players come into the league with inconsistent shooting, turnover issues, and non-NBA ready frames. I believe Dosunmu has the work ethic and the mentality to fix these issues and become a more efficient player and will round the score in the NBA. Let's move on to Jericho Sims, another Texas big man who may have a chance to make an immediate impact if, say, he's drafted by a team like the Brooklyn Nets. The things he does well is exactly what the Nets need more of, and we saw that in the conference semifinals versus the Bucks. It wasn't enough just to have Clax out there, but another big with size and athleticism like Jericho Sims. His ability to finish at the rim, be a lob threat for James Harden, and being able to protect the rim is exactly what they need. He would be the cheap replacement who has college experience for a guy like DJ if they can somehow get rid of him and Blake Griffin. A healthy Nets roster with Clax and Sims would be an ideal situation for them. He's projected to go in the second round. If that indeed happens, this would be a match made in heaven for him and the Nets. I just feel like if he goes to the Nets, fans would be saying, damn, why didn't my team draft him? Let's move on to the final name on my list, which is Miles McBride from West Virginia. Miles Deuce McBride, that's his nickname. A 20-year-old sophomore guard from West Virginia is one of the best defensive prospects in the 2021 NBA draft. We know West Virginia's smaller guards are pretty pesky defensively, and it doesn't end with Deuce. But he can also shoot it. As the leading scorer at West Virginia last season, McBride averaged 15.9 points, so pretty much 16 points a game, on 43% shooting from the field and 41.4 from beyond the arc on 3.8 attempts per game. That's pretty good if you ask me. The biggest takeaway from McBride's offensive game is his tough shot making ability. He possesses a very quick first step and can stop on a dime, allowing him to get off his effective pull-up jumper quickly over defenders. While the Mountaineer prospect does tend to rely on his pull-up jumper too often at times, he is a proficient shot maker and a more than capable shooter with a defender in his face. Although he has shown growth in his ability to command the offense this year for West Virginia, his playmaking is not always what you would like it to be from a player his size. While maintaining a similar usage rate from his freshman to sophomore year, McBride's assist percentage increased a significant rate from 18% to 27%. However, this only manifested in a little over 4 assists a game, along with an increase of 2 turnovers per game. As someone who creates a high number of turnovers on defense, he can initiate instant offense for himself and others on fast breaks. Due to his strength, McBride is a strong finisher in transition, and it adds another dimension to his game. McBride shows highly impressive offensive flashes, but his defense is what's going to draw the attention to him as a prospect. The West Virginia guard was one of the best defenders in college basketball over his last 2 years. All 4 of these prospects can make an immediate impact, or not, depending on their situations. They are under the radar, and in other drafts, I believe they would be rated a little higher. What do you guys think about my 4 sleepers? Did I miss anyone? If I did, drop their names in the comment section below, and let's start a civilized conversation. Let's make this YouTube channel the best basketball channel on the platform. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Make sure you also check out our draft prospect breakdowns and mock drafts. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.